Hello and welcome to ARK, the complete series. Now, I know based on the last episode I was saying we were going to be heading over to Aberration, and that was the plan. I've actually got my Aberration server all ready to go, except I've just found out that there's a lot of dinos that I was planning to take over there that I can't. I'm going to have to do a completely new whole set of breeding to be able to take on Rockwell. But these beasties here in particular now got me annoyed because it means I'm never going to be using these until I get to extinction. You can't take them there. I can't even take my Therazinos over. I can't take my, I think it's the Megatheriums, as far as I recall. I'm going to have to double check, but all of the dinos that I've been breeding for boss fights I can't take over there. So it's going to be a case I'm going to have to practically start from scratch. And it just seems a shame to waste these, like, TEK Rexes, because I've gone to all this trouble of like breeding them. They were used against the actual Manticore on Scorched Earth, and I'm not going to see them again until we get to extinction. So I thought, well, why not bring them back here to the island, and we'll test them against the actual Alpha BroodMother and see how they fare against. We did against the Megatheriums, because my original Rexes, they just totally tanked. They were absolutely lousy. Because to be fair, I only actually gave them enough like health and melee to be able to take on the actual Megapithecus, and to be fair, that was pretty easy. I mean, at the time I just needed like lots of element. I just wanted to do element farming to be able to start getting things like cryopods and what have you. But of course then the game changed, so it's a case of I never really tested any proper Rexes against the Broodmother. So that's the plan today. So first things first, I'm just gonna put my gear on. I don't know how this is going to go, so I'm going to leave these with you. And we're now going to go over. I'm just going to check I'm not... Yeah, I don't actually have anybody with you. I'm not too fussed about... Yeah, I'm not too fussed about anything, you know, in terms of like brews or out, anything like that. I'm just going to basically... If I can get... Can you let me in here? Look, I mean, seriously, I appreciate you're interested, but this is not practical. Right, so we've got all our bits and pieces here. We're now actually going to start this. So we've got Grimy over here. I'm just going to head out to the exit bit around here. Actually, while we're here, yeah. So these are like 19 TEK Rexes plus Grimy, who's our Yugi. So it'll be interesting to see how these things now compare. Better get off Grimy here. So fingers crossed this won't be a complete wreck like the last one was. Right, come on you lot, get going. Are you gonna go? Seriously, guys? Go on. So, ooh, 500. Ow, 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 ooh. I didn't want that. So how much are you hitting for? You're hitting for about 1600 or so. 2000 against the normal Iranians. Well, I say normal, a level 500. That's pretty high, to be honest. So I just need to stay out the way of the Broodmother, but it'll be interesting to see how we do here, because Megatheriums, the perk that they've got is that they get a bonus. They get a damage resistance bonus, and they can hand out more damage because they can, you know, if they eat many insects, they get that bonus. These aren't getting anything at all. I mean, you know, we've got males and females, so they're made boosted. But that's about it. We've got a lot of health. 40,000. I think it's 2150 for the melee damage. So if any of these drop, I'm going to be seriously worried. But about 1600. I'm assuming that's 1600's against the Broodmother. And the 2000 damages against the actual Iranian. Well, nobody died, so that's a good sign. If any of them did, I'd be seriously bothered. That's one thing to note. I found that when I was fighting the Manticore. I went up against the Manticore. Sometimes I always got the element. You know, one of the dinos managed to harvest it. Sometimes they didn't. Sometimes I got the actual trophy, sometimes I didn't, so it always pays to, you know, check the actual body just to see what's happened. So you were pretty up close. So out of about 40,000, this one lost about 16 in health. But I think that didn't go too bad. I mean, that's pretty much my limit, to be honest. I mean, it was going to be a choice of, like, a lot more health. So, yeah, 40,000 health, 2150 melee. Except I can't get out now. I can't. Well, we're all pinned in here. This is not practical, guys. We're all pinned in. Right. I'm just gonna have to pause it here because I've somehow got to find a way to get out of all this lot. So once I do that, I'll bring you back. Well, I don't know what happened there. I actually recorded quite a bit of footage, and I was actually coming back here on Big Bird Hunter. And all of a sudden the game just crashed. Next thing I know, Steam's updating the client, and that's it. So all I know is that I'd fallen out of the sky, probably because I'd been kicked off the server. But fortunately I survived. So what I was actually going over though was this one here came out the worst. When I was checking this one out, it was down to about 21,000 in health. So about half of its health that it lost. So that's, I mean, that is quite a lot, I must admit. I mean, to be fair, the BroodMother is a pretty tough fight. I mean, these are Rexes. They don't get any bonuses, like, you know, like with the Megatherium, for instance. They kill a spider that's in there, and they'll get an instant buff. They take less damage, but they hand out more damage as well. Rexes don't get that. If you've got like herbivores, like the Therazinos, for instance, if you give them sweet veggie cake, if their health starts to go too low, they can eat some veggie cake, and I think they get something like 200 immediate health. You know, a big, massive boost, and it's an automated thing. It automatically eats it to get its health back up to a certain level. So they tend to look after themselves. They're able to really look after themselves through that sweet veggie cake, keep themselves healed. But you know, again, Rexes don't get that. So yeah, I mean that was quite a lot. I mean, if I go around some of the other ones, I mean this one's, well, it's not too far down. 31,000. There was one down here. I think it was all the way up to 37. Worst case. It's doing really well. But yeah, it was this one. This one is down to about 37,000. So I suspect you'll have had some of those with a right in at the front end. They'll have been taking all of the damage, all the rest will have just been basically standing back and biting. So they were okay because they've got a big like AoE damage. These things they just bite, and a lot of things around get damaged in the process. But yeah, it made me think. I mean, it's a case of they've done a lot better than our original dinos, because to be fair, they're a heck of a lot better. The original dinos I had, they were only bred for the Megapithecus. They were just there for like element farming against the bare minimum I could get away with, just for the sake of being able to make cryopods. Then of course the game changed, so I tested them against the BroodMother, and of course they didn't last 5 minutes. It's a miracle I actually managed to finish that one. But yeah, I mean, given how much damage that one took, I mean, I was tempted to actually take him up against, like, say, the Alpha Dragon, but no, that's not going to happen now. I mean, the amount of time it takes to sort of, like, breed one of these, give it all of its experience, as well as actually make a saddle, because that's the other downside. You lose an actual dino, you risk losing the saddle if you don't pick it up in time. Yeah, I'm going to leave that for the Therazinos. That's what the Therazinos are well suited to taking on the Alpha Dragon, because, I mean, they're herbivores, so they benefit from the sweet veggie cake, but they've also got feathers, which means that they take less damage from the fire breath, whereas these things, I mean, even though they're made of metal, I think they're just going to have just as much chance as the normal Rexes, quite frankly, and that ain't much. So, I mean, I've actually gone up against an Alpha Dragon before with Rexes, and yeah, I mean, I've been able to beat it, but I spent so much time making these, it's not worth it. I think I'll just save them for extinction at this rate. But anyway, all of these are now intact, so that's not too bad. It gives you some sort of like marker anyway. You know, 40,000, 2150. I mean, if you've got less melee than that, it's always a trade-off. If you don't have a large amount of health, you want a lot of melee instead, basically. You know, it's offense was it a good offense is a good defense or something? You know, if you can bring your opponent down quickly, they can't, you know, hand out as much damage. Where if it's going to be a drawn out fight, yeah, you need a lot of health to be able to survive. I mean, that was 19 Rexes. I mean, you know, take a date on in there, maybe that might help improve things. But one thing I did want to actually show you is it's just to do with the breeding, because I mean, you spend a lot of time, you know, breeding those things, getting all the mutations, all the imprinting, then giving them experience. Yeah, that takes a heck of a lot of time. I mean, that's 19 of those things, and one of the challenges I've got is, I mean, we're going to be going over to Aberration next, and it's a case of there's a lot of dinos that I wanted to take over, things like my Rexes. I was really looking forward to trying the, you know, the Therazinos, for instance. I was gonna give them some more melee. I was gonna go back to the breeding. I was gonna boost those beyond like 20 melee and test those against Rockwell, for instance. But then I've had a look at the actual transfer limits, and it's a case of I can't take dinos like that across there, which means I'm going to have to probably use the Megalosauruses, the aberrant versions over there, to take on Rockwell. I mean, another option is things like the aberrant Stego. The Stego gets that benefit of the sweet veggie cake, for instance. They've got a good knockback and so on. So that's something we can do. But it means doing a completely new breeding line. I'm going to have to start entirely from scratch with my breeding, which is a bit of a pain. And that's something that got me to remember, is that one thing I didn't show you was this this cloning chamber. Just take this Rex out here, because this is a fully experienced one. It's got all of the imprinting. So the idea would be, I mean, Wildcard introduced this. It's part like the TEK era, so it's a case of, you know, I can't remember which dino you've got to, which boss you've got to defeat to get the engram for it. But this thing here, this is the S Plus version, so it's just basically a big round flat platform. But the vanilla version, the principle's the same, where you put a dino on here and you'll see I want to clone it. When these came out, this sounded like a serious game changer, you know, to save you a lot of time. Because, I mean, they are pretty expensive boss fights. If you start losing your dino, for instance, you've got to keep breeding, and you spend a long time not just getting all the mutations, you've then got to actually, you know, level these, breed them, get them the XP and so on. So when this sort of thing came out, it sounded like brilliant. All I need to do is get myself one dino and I'll just clone the rest to give me an army. The trouble is, the vanilla version doesn't pass on the imprinting. I don't know if that's changed. I haven't touched that version since, but I kept away from it because it just didn't seem worth the effort. I mean, that's one of the key things. You get like a 20% boost in stats through imprinting, so that's a massive loss. Then, of course, the S Plus version came out. What that one does is it does give your dino, the cloned dino, the actual imprinting. So that's exactly what you need. But it's just pointless. I mean, it's too expensive. I mean, click on that option that says clone a dino, and you can see this thing. It's going to cost me almost 25,000 shards. Now the shards you can get from the TEK Replicator. And you have a look at that and you find out how much these shards cost to make, and it's like, no, I'm never going to do that. It's like a complete waste of, that was a complete waste of resources. So just head over to the TEK Replicator and I'll show you how much these things cost. So we're on the island, so you don't get shards on the island. But you can make shards with element, but you need 20 element. That's right, you need one element. I've got 20, that's right, there's 20 in here. It costs you one element to make one shard. So that means I would need something like almost 25,000 element to be able to clone that dino. So imagine if you've got like, you've got one dino and you want to clone like another 18. That's seriously expensive, it would never happen. Now, there is another option to make shards. It is, just do a quick search on here. Under engrams there's an option for unstable element shards. So what that allows you to do is convert dust into element shards. But the trouble is that if you click on there, for instance, these are the maps that we've been on. The island, Scorched Earth, and that's where we're heading next, Aberration. You're not going to get that option from these 3 maps. You don't get it until you get to extinction. And that's what's got me puzzled, I must admit. For one thing, that's too expensive, so it's never going to happen. But I'm still puzzled as to why I can actually access these engrams. I mean, if I have a look at the ones for, like, Aberration, I can see them, I can learn them, I can use them if I wanted to. Ooh, way back when this series started, I couldn't do that. I always remember last time when I was like playing on Extinction, if I did a mind wipe, I'd probably have to come back to Scorched Earth to learn the engrams from there. I'd have to go back to Aberration to get the engrams from there. If I came back to the island, did a mind wipe, I'd then have to go to Extinction to get the engrams from there. You had to be on the actual map itself at the time to learn the engrams. These were all blacked out. You just couldn't get access to it. So something happened during this series that I can't wrap my head around as to how I've got access to every engram on this, on these places where we haven't been to. I mean, I can learn things like, like a taxidermy, for instance. I was trying some of them out just to see if I can learn them, and I can, which is a bit weird because I haven't been there yet, and I don't know. I can't remember when that started happening or why. I don't know if it's deliberate. I don't know whether it's permanent, because if I go and play, it's not unique to my server. If I go and play this on a PC, I can do the same thing. So I'm really scratching my head. I'm wondering how can I do that if I haven't been to the maps? What's changed since? So if anybody knows, I mean, please put it in the comments, because I'd love to know. Because I mean, at the moment, I'm not touching these. I mean, things like the taxidermy base, I'm not going to do those anyway, because I haven't learned like the taxidermy tools, so just the fact I know them, I can't do them yet until I learn that. But I'm holding off using any of the engrams from these maps until I've actually been there, because as far as I'm aware, that is how it goes. You've actually got to be on that actual map to learn them. So yeah, if you know if something has changed and that is deliberate, the fact that I've bought access to all of these DLCs, it gives me access to everything. I don't know whether it's since the I think there was a season pass came out for Genesis. That was it. I bought the season pass that would allow me to get Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Might have been sometime around there when that became available, so I don't know if that's what's going on. I just don't know. It's got me scratching my head. I'm really itching to use some of those engrams, because they would be great on like, on this island. If I've got access to stuff from like like Aberration or Extinction that I could do here on the island without actually going there, that would be great. And if that's all legit, part of the deliberate plan, that would be brilliant. I'd love to try that, but yeah, for now I'm just holding off. Anywho, that's really it for this episode. I mean, it was pretty brief as far as the actual the actual BroodMother fight. I mean, it would have been tempting to actually probably try and take on the Alpha Dragon, but I've got a funny feeling it's not going to go to plan, so I'm going to hold off on that anyway. But really, it's all about Aberration next. That's where we need to go. I still need to do my breeding for these gigas eventually for Extinction, but nope, that's where we're heading. Aberration, a new map. Pretty much new dinos, because most of the ones I was planning to take, I can't. Of course, that's all part of a new episode. So I do hope you've enjoyed watching this one. If so, then do please leave a like. That'll help me out a great deal. For whatever reason, YouTube's algorithm seems to think, if a video's got likes, then it'll... Oh, it's a case of, yeah, we better push that out to other people. Maybe we'll get more views for that video. So, yeah. Any likes I really do appreciate. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see more content like this, then yes, do please subscribe. Just remember to click the little bell icon though, because then you get notifications when I send new content out. If you've got any comments, if you've got any suggestions, if you want to leave any feedback at all, please post that in the comment section below. Till next episode, thanks very much for watching. Bye!